It's a real life ghost experience, apparently. Well, okay, that's fine. Let's see then. I grew up in a small town in Florida. The house I grew up in was built in the early 90s, so not particularly old when living there in the early 2000s. Despite it not being that old, it was definitely haunted by a few spirits. The most notable experience came from when my mom, dad, and I all had a similar encounter in one night. Okay, interesting. My mom was a light sleeper. When my sister and I were younger, we would each do things to wake up our parents if needed. I would go into their room and bump their bed to wake them up. My sister would stand in the doorway until my mom woke up. Well, this night my mom woke up because she felt my sister standing in the doorway staring at them. She sat up and saw a little girl with white skin, black hair, and red eyes. Great, okay. She laid back down for a moment and sat back up to see the girl's gone. She got up and checked on my sister, myself, and the dog. We were all asleep, so she went back to sleep. Okay, well that is kind of creepy. Okay, that's not good. I woke up next because, my dad woke up a little later because he heard a child's laughter and footsteps running up and down the hall outside. He got up and he checked on my sister, myself, and the dog, and we were all still asleep, so he also went back to bed. I woke up next because I felt like there was someone watching me while I slept as well. I sat up and turned to the door and saw a little girl with white skin, black hair, red eyes staring at me from my bedroom doorway. I was so freaked out, I laid back down and eventually fell back to sleep as well. Okay. The next morning I woke up and found my parents in the kitchen talking quietly, and they asked how I slept. I told them about what I had seen, and they looked at each other and told me they experienced similar events. My sister came out of her room shortly after, and they asked her as well how her night went. She told us it was good and that her friend was over last night, and they played with her Barbies. My mom asked her what her friend had looked like, and she told us verbatim: white skin, black hair, red eyes. We were all spooked after that, and various things have happened over the years since we've lived there, but definitely, that was like the most definitely prominent one. Okay, well, that was obviously very scary. Yeah, that was, not ideal. Let's read some of the comments. There's a few. So your sister has a ghost friend. It's always fascinating when different people are able to corroborate experiences like this. It adds a little bit more validity to what they said, what they saw and heard. The moderator replied and said she would often play with her friend. The spirit was definitely tethered to the house, though. We moved a few years later, and she never mentioned her again. That's so creepy. Like, there's just these entities this tied to a location. I wonder what that actually means. These ghost stories they're such a prominent thing in our society, but surely not everyone's like telling the truth. But then again, surely not everyone is lying. It goes both ways. Someone else commented, use the available online resources. See what other type of domicile was there living in the house prior. Growing up, the moderator replied, growing up in the town, learning the history taught us enough to know what caused it. The entire town was essentially an ancient Native American burial ground. Great. Wow, that is a classic recipe, isn't it? Sheesh. Oh gosh. Yeah. Okay. Well, that was creepy. Let's try another one. This one was only posted 10 hours ago. By someone with the name of the Possessed Knight. Okay. This is my father's story. From a time before I was born, one evening, my father was at home with his elder sister, which is my aunt, okay, along with my grandparents, my father's mother. Oh, yeah. Okay. One evening, my father was home alone with his elder sister and his grandparents. My aunt was casually walking on the roof of her house. Okay, behind her home, there was a small alley-like area. Okay. Sorry, I had to pause for a second. Oh. There's some noise out in the hallway. My bad. But, as I was saying, my aunt was casually walking on the roof, which is the father's older sister, which would be the narrator's aunt. This is confusing. While walking, my aunt absentmindedly spit down from the roof, and then came back inside. Okay, everything seemed normal. Later, everyone gathered for dinner, and the night went on without any issues. Why did she spit off the roof? However, as the night progressed, my aunt began feeling strange. Her body started heating up, and she became restless, almost as if she had lost control over herself. Suddenly, she began speaking in a very heavy voice, saying, "Why did you spit on me? I will kill you." She kept repeating this in a voice that didn't sound like hers. Oh, Jesus, that's scary. Her body became stiff, and my father, along with my grandparents, tried to hold her down. It felt as if something is taking control of her body. It seemed that where she had spit earlier, something or someone was present and had been angered by her action. For some time, my aunt continued speaking in that strange voice. My grandparents, realizing something was very wrong, began apologizing to the unknown entity, and that seemed to have possessed her. They begged for forgiveness, saying they didn't know it was there or meant any harm. After some time, things returned to normal, and my aunt was herself again. Today, my aunt is no longer with us, but the story is passed down to me by my father, who was quite young at the time. He said it was the first time he had ever experienced anything like that. Ew, well, that is creepy. Any comments? There are no comments on this one yet. These are actually very new. Let's find another one. Why not? Here we go. This one's titled, "I Grew Up in a Haunted House." It's by Training-Anything 571. Okay. Let's see what we got here. I'm a 25-year-old female, and I've got a few strange stories of my childhood that I think would fit perfectly here. This is my first post sharing these experiences. Okay. I grew up outside the U.S. in a large, old, 4-story house. While I never personally saw an apparition in the house, common stories I was told about involved a little girl who was frequently seen around the house. I've always believed in the paranormal, but since I lived there and never saw a little girl, I thought many people were exaggerating. That is, until my dad told me his story. Okay, what is his dad's story? What is it? One night, he woke up in the middle of the night. My mom had gotten up to use the bathroom and left the door slightly ajar, allowing a little bit of light to spill into the room. As my dad turned over, something in the room caught his eye. Standing in the middle of the room was a little girl. She was dressed in a white nightgown. Oh, great. Her face partially hidden by shadows. At first, he thought it was me, as I was 9 or 10 at the time. Then he remembered I wasn't even home that night. He said a chill ran through him, and not knowing what else to do, he simply turned over and pretended to go back to sleep. When my mom came back to bed, she didn't see anything out of the ordinary. That wasn't the last someone mentioned seeing a little girl in the house, but it was one of the first moments that made me question if something might be in the house. Out of curiosity, does anyone have any insight as to why so many people saw apparitions in my house, but neither my mom nor I ever did? Okay, so that was a relatively short one, but some people did respond to the question. Someone replied, I had a very similar story to yours, except it involved my daughter. I was a single mom, and we had a row home in Pennsylvania in a small town. My daughter was about 3 years old. She kept talking about this little girl named Ashley. Behold, long before she ends up having multiple encounters with her, I finally started seeing her. I told her to go to the light. Once that happened, everything stopped. Totally shortened the story because there was so much activity in that house. Come to find out, a little girl named Ashley really did die in that house. Dude. Oh no. That is spooky. My guess as to why. Someone else replied, the reason you may not have experienced as much as the other people, you just weren't as tuned into the paranormal as the others were in that house. Okay, but what does that mean? How are some people tuned into the paranormal and others aren't? I still have the same question. I like this answer. This person said, I think two things could happen. The entity chooses who can see them, and they may reveal themselves to us, but we don't even notice. I guess that's true, partially. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna read this reply as well. This person said, you were not open to them, and they chose not to show themselves to you, your mother. I lived in a very haunted house for 3.5 years. We loved the house, but we did have stuff happening virtually every day there. I never saw anything, but felt them intensely. A man and woman would get into a very loud, animated conversation late at night, but when we'd open our bedroom door to check, nobody was there, but we heard them. They got physical with at least one of my friends who spent the night there. Jeez. I didn't have context for what was happening in our home. The only things that... Okay, these people don't know how to type. They got bad enough sometimes that our parents considered having the home exorcised or exorcist. But that thought might even worse. But thought that might even... Oh, man, this person can't type. Okay, moving on. Point is that sounds like some people have these... I'm so confused about that. Some of these people have all these experiences to talk about. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I see other ASMR YouTubers. They talk about their experiences. Like they'll make entire skits scary story YouTube videos just off their own experiences. Like, they have that much content. I do not. Okay, like, I don't. It's not like that for me. I don't have countless paranormal stories to tell you guys. If I did, I would share them. But I would be lying right now if I told you I had some. Because I don't. It's not that I'm like a complete denier of any paranormal existence. I'm just saying I haven't experienced that. And I'm not sure if I want to. Because that would be really, really, really scary. There are some more peaceful encounters, but yeah, you get what I'm saying. But those are the 3 stories I was gonna read. I didn't look at them beforehand. However, if you guys have a scary story you want me to read, I love listening to them, and I'll be more than happy to read them off and post more videos like this. These stories, they're pretty creepy, but they aren't that long, and I have no problem sitting down and reading a story for 20-25 minutes. So if you know one, please let me know. Please comment down below and let me know. I can probably do more videos of these if people want me to. Like I said, this is the first type of video I ever did on my channel. It got no views, but hey, it was still fun to do. So I think that'll be it for this video. But hey, happy October though. It's my favorite as a college student. Halloween is my new favorite holiday because of all the weird costumes people wear when they go out to party, and it's just chaotic, but it's in a funny way. So please don't be afraid. Ask in the comments if you want me to do more of these. It's so much fun. I listen to these all the time because they're fun to listen to. But okay, I gotta stop. I have to stop. It's time. So without further ado, I hope you had a great time listening. I hope you're fast asleep or about